Firstly, welcome Sarah to the first in our series of podcasts. Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Katherine, thanks so much for inviting me. I've been really excited to have the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Sarah Bennett-Nash, as Katherine said. I am Head of Europe Compliance at Standard Chartered. My career unusually started in New York. I had the great opportunity, using some connections of mine that I'd met in New York, of taking a role in a Goldman. It was an incredible opportunity to take, and I took it.
Kick off with the first question. So as a woman in a senior role, what skills have you found vital to your job?
Confidence is the most important thing. That then sort of feeds through into resilience, and particularly right now, you know, getting those skill sets to be really resilient is so important. And particularly as a woman, I mean, I think it's a lot better now than it was. In the last 5 years, I think the Women in Finance Charter is doing a very good job of steering some of that. And we've all got really good targets that we're working towards. So it's definitely better. And I think the third one is around competency.
Would you say that the bank you're working for currently is really striving to build a diverse workforce going forward?
Absolutely. We're going through, it's not just about gender. I mean, I touched on gender. We're looking more broadly as to how we can make some significant improvements. Standard Chartered is possibly one of the most diverse places I've ever worked. How people progress through the organisation, and that's really an area that we have to focus on. So, you know, there's lots of initiatives happening, but one of the key ones is actually making sure we've got the data available to us to actually make decisions.
Going on to the next question, what's the best career decision you've ever made?
There's so many great career choices, and I don't mean to sound boastful when I say
that.
But each choice that I've made has really steered me in a different direction. I remember taking a quite big jump when I went to one of the German banks, and I remember the first day just thinking, oh, okay, I've got quite a big team.
It's going to be a challenge.
Quite a big team, multiple countries. And then I just thought, do you know what? I took this opportunity for a really good reason. I was going to go for it. And I learned possibly the most I've ever learned in any role. And of course, I made some mistakes along the way. You know, everybody does, no matter what type of role you're in.
Cool.
I've got one particular mentor who's a Goldman, who is amazing. And he's my go-to person if I'm ever not so sure about something.
A lot of people would assume as you rise up the career ladder that you wouldn't need that reassurance or support anymore, but actually I think you probably need it even more effectively because the decisions you're making are going to have a huge impact on both, you know, the business you're working for, but also the people around you.
Yeah. You know, there's two things about that. A, knowing the right people to be able to help you, or go to the right place to be able to find the help. But also, I think it's just being a little bit accepting that failure, as comfortable as it's going to be, is inevitable in some cases. And it's back to the resilience point. It's around, you know, how you respond from that, how you get yourself back up and just get on with it. You have to quickly build up this ability to be able to prioritize and get through the low level stuff, or find somewhere to delegate it, or you need to sort of figure out which areas you really need to prioritize.
How do you organise your time? So obviously you're a working mum. How do you manage both home life and work life and get that balance where you feel happy and content yourself?
I can genuinely say I literally had a conversation with my husband last week where I said, I'm just the most happiest I've ever been. And it's probably because, I think the basics for me are right now. So I have a real meticulous routine. In order to be able to fit everything in, unless you're organised, it's never going to happen. Sure. So I tend to get up early before everybody else gets up and the chaos starts. I spend half an hour organising my day. I spend half an hour on something new. So I watch a podcast or I tune into something on leadership that I find interesting. But I always find a half an hour slot to make sure that I'm growing, because it's really important to me. Get control of your morning and then the day will follow.
And it's prioritising your own time into that as well, which people are very poor at doing. I know if I was to let go of one thing during a day, it would be my own time, when actually that's probably the most important in some ways, isn't it?
Messaging is so fundamentally important when it comes to people, and being really clear on what that impact is for those individuals is absolutely imperative. Get that wrong, you lose productivity from the team, you lose focus, people get distracted.
What advice do you have for someone new to the industry?
Someone new to the industry, well, I mean, I think it can be so overwhelming. Being new to banking, where we're in a period of time where there is so much change. There's so much, I know it's the buzzword at the moment, but there's a lot of disruption happening out in the market. I think as a newcomer to the industry, you really focus on the areas that get you excited. Once you enjoy something, it's the kind of stuff that gets you out of bed in the morning, and you're going to be naturally interested in it. And people will see that from you, and they will gravitate towards it to start off with. But also for you, it will give you that excitement to move forwards into the next stage of your career. In the industry, I think as a whole, we're a bit more human in terms of the way that we deal with people and approach things, which is great. It's a bit more relatable, I'd say. And within compliance itself, I think our focus as an industry on conduct has massively changed. How we are, perceived and how important we are within an organisation. So for the UK, particularly, SMCR has been a game changer.
So would you say from the SMCR changes, senior management have prioritised compliance cultures within every organisation off the back of that implementation?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're on to our sort of final questions. So what is the top advice you'd give listeners today about career advancement?
Oh, great question. Career advancement. Find a place that you enjoy working at, and everything else will come. And that sounds such a simple thing, but the reason why I say that is because once you've found a place that you really enjoy working at, to me, that says that you're very, very much aligned with the values of that organisation, and you feel it and you see it and you behave in the way that the organisation expects you to. And those things are real fundamental building blocks to you, A, enjoying what you're doing, which is the most important thing, but B, also being successful, because people will see that you're passionate around what you're doing, how you're driving the agenda forward, how you're going over and above, and really sort of shining through in your career. Advice is to find somewhere that A, you align yourself to the purpose and the values of that company, but B, somewhere that you're really happy, and that they're taking you seriously in terms of your contributions. We are changing at such a massive pace, and we've really got to keep up. And that's why I do my half an hour's learning every morning, because I know that I need to keep growing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting take. Anyway, I'm going to let you get on with the rest of your day, because I know you're absolutely manic, but I really, really appreciate your time today. And yeah, we'll catch up soon. Okay.
Katherine, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thanks so much for having me today. Speak soon.